Hi, and welcome to this edition of The Hot Seat. I'm your host, Jeff Cawley, along with a very special guest today, former retired Central teacher, former North County board member.
Former MAC teacher.
Former MAC teacher. Are you still on the board for
United Way?
United Way?
And Serenity Hospice.
Okay, so
Yeah.
involved in all kinds of stuff. Tennis
Former tennis coach, former volleyball coach. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, wow,
Yeah.
okay, so.
Notice there's a lot of formers here.
Yes.
When I used to tell one of my daughters that that was one of my former students. And one day we left the store and she said, "Mom, how come you taught so many farmers?" So I try to get that more clearly spoken now.
Okay, well, we'll start out. How many years in education? How many years did you teach?
A whole bunch, 51 altogether.
51.
Yes, that's a lot, I know.
I thought you were like 52 years old.
I know, I started when I was 10.
Okay, so where did you teach? Where did you teach?
I started at Central. I taught there 38 years.
Okay.
20 of them, actually, I have to be honest, they were part-time. That's when I got to be home with my three daughters. So they were some of them were part-time. And then when I retired from there, as opening just happened right at MAC for a French teacher. So off I went, and 13 years there. So I have been blessed. And
what did you
I'm so
teach
grateful.
at Central? I mean, I know,
at
but
Central,
for our viewers, what
right.
did you teach?
Well, I actually had a double major in business and in French. And so I taught a lot of business subjects like bookkeeping, and then they called it accounting, but it was still really just bookkeeping. But typing, keyboarding, business law, salesmanship, general business, and always French.
Okay, always taught French.
And then French only at MAC.
Here's a question for you. Who were some, don't feel compelled to say my name. Who were some of your favorite people you worked with when you worked at Central?
Oh my gosh.
I was on the tail end of your career at Central when I was working there with you.
Yeah.
So who were some of the people you worked with that you really just enjoyed working with?
Oh, I had a group of lady friends that we'd eat lunch together, and there were several of them, and that was wonderful. But everybody was wonderful, and a lot of my farmer students came back to teach, and wow, I love that. And I had super duper principals, and Terry Noble. Oh my goodness,
I'm a Terry Noble guy.
Oh my gosh, loved him, still do, but I never see him anymore. And Dr. St. Jim was an excellent principal, and there were others. My first one, George Powell. Wow.
George Powell. Very interesting guy.
Oh, he was. He was the reason probably that I took that job, because he was so. North County also had an opening, and it was a tough choice, but somebody.
Because you were a Bonne Terre girl.
Yeah, I was, and so I really kind of wanted to go to North County, but somebody that I was a mentor to me and I really respected said, "You need to go to Central because you're going to love George Powell." And I did. He was my boss, and his wife was my mentor. She taught also, and they were just unbelievable, and I loved having their kids in class too.
Very neat individual. So back to Bonne Terre a little bit. You went to Bonne Terre High School?
I did. I went all through school there.
Who were some of your favorite teachers?
Oh my goodness, that was a long time ago.
Did you have Mr. Joy?
Oh, definitely.
Millard
Yeah.
Joy.
Oh, I love him.
Joy. Everybody loved Mr. Joy if you had him.
And I had the Bakers, and they're still alive and look terrific.
Mr. Baker was here last week.
Oh my gosh.
He's coming by to visit.
I'm so glad.
Right.
Yeah, and they look just like they did almost.
I had him for 7th grade math.
Yeah.
He looked exactly the same.
I know they are. They're an incredible couple, and there were so many other teachers, and all my grade school teachers were so kind and helpful. I loved it.
Okay. It was Bonne Terre when you went.
It was, of course, yes.
And so two things I have to mention. You have a bracelet over here.
I do.
I remember when I worked with you at Central, you
Yes.
were always jingling coming
Yes,
down the hall.
I
What's
was.
the background on this bracelet? You brought a prop in.
Yeah, I did. I brought a prop. I couldn't do this interview without this prop, but I didn't wear it because it is noisy.
Jingly.
It's jingly, yes. So anyway, when I first started teaching at Central, of course, as I said, George Powell was my principal, and he knew how to get anybody to do anything almost. And so he said, "Would you like to coach volleyball this year?" And I said, "Oh my goodness, I've never, well, yeah, I'd be glad to, you know." And so anyway, I did, and it was spectacular. I did that for about 4 years, but the very first season that I coached, the girls gave me the bracelet and the first charm, and then every year had just an outstanding record. I knew nothing about it, but they just knew what to do.
Right.
I gave them a lot of enthusiasm and encouragement, and every year we either lost 1 or 2 games or none. And so every year I got new charms, and then some of my classes gave me charms. So I said when I got this from them, I wear this forever, and I've been wearing it forever. I wore it to MAC every day, but it's lost a lot of charms that the jewelers can't put on anymore. So I don't wear it much anymore because I don't want to lose anymore.
Sure,
So,
exactly.
but it's very, very special to me. One of my most special things. So, yeah. And then after I coached,
So that's really like an award, more
Yes.
more than a piece of
Oh,
jewelry.
it
It's a
Yes.
conversation piece,
It
but it's
is.
almost like very similar
Yeah.
to when you were Miss Diamond Drill.
very similar. Yes. Jeff never forget.
1961?
63.
63?
Yeah, 1963.
Are you sure about this?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. It was my senior year.
1963
Yes.
Miss Diamond Drill, which was the equivalent to the highest recognized honor in the high school.
It was, because it was a vote by the whole student body. And
Right.
it was very, oh my goodness, when they announced my name, I was flabbergasted and so
Right.
excited. Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much, Jeff. You're
I
always
always
good about
remember.
remembering.
I always remember Miss
I don't know
Diamond Drill.
how.
What are your girls up to? You got Mindy.
Yep.
And we were neighbors for years.
Yes,
when
we
I
were.
lived in Lakewood. So you had Mindy, Cherie, and Brittany.
Great.
So what are the girls up to?
Okay, so Mindy is still in New York. She's my least favorite daughter because of that. Just kidding. So she's in New York, and she still is a magazine writer, and that's why she's there. She loves it so much, and she has 3 daughters. And Cherie is in St. Louis. She came back from New York after being there about 7 years, and so she has her own business. It's called CherieBerryPaper.com. You should look it up. It's really fun.
Did the invitations for Chelsea Clinton's wedding?
Yes, she did everything for Chelsea Clinton's wedding, and all the placemats and the directions and everything. And then, but to play both sides of the political field, she also, Barbara and Jen Bush, Barbara and Jen Bush, they love her too, and they take her out to dinner when they're in town, and they buy all their cards and everything for the year with her.
Great,
So she
great.
plays both sides of that. So she does that, and she has 3 kiddos as well. And then Brittany says, Mom, when you're talking about all of what we do, mine always sounds so boring. Well, hers is the most important, actually, because she's a physical therapist. She works in St. Louis. She's in St. Louis as well, and she works at SLU and does physical therapy. And I've had a whole lot of physical therapy because I've had a whole lot of
I'm hoping
falls.
you're getting a discount.
I should be. I know, right. So that's what they're up to. Thanks.
Okay, great. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Oh dear. I don't think I have a real favorite because we go lots of different places. I don't like to return to the same place a whole lot. I think maybe India might have been my favorite.
Really? I
that's-
have not been to India.
Yeah, and I've been to China and the UAE and Greece and all of Europe and Hawaii and all those things. It's just fun to see new places, to read about them, and to really engage.
You know, my wife and son have been to China a couple
Oh,
times.
yeah?
I did not go. I don't know that I have a desire to go because of the length of the flight. The
Well,
Beijing
Bill doesn't
was
go
like
anymore. Yeah. Yeah, it's
19 hours, 21 hours.
Oh, yes.
And I remember thinking, we flew home from Reykjavik, Iceland one time, and it was like
yeah.
17 hours.
And you
That's
thought-
enough for me.
I know.
I don't want any
I'm
more
getting
of
to that now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with all that's going on. It's
I think I'm going to, as I get older, I find myself like some of my friends, Greg Munn does a lot of work for us, does a lot of construction work for us, and Greg's a friend to the guys here at UniTec. But Greg's philosophy is that anything north of Festus is Canada. And he doesn't want to travel outside. And I'm kind of getting that way where I have enough around here to keep me pretty busy. And I still love to travel, but I don't want to go on a 21-hour flight.
I know, and you have to do it twice. That's the bad thing.
I don't want to do
Well, we go to New York regularly because of New York, of Mindy's being there, about every 2 months, every 3 months. And that's only a 2.5-hour flight. So
Right, not bad.
it's really good. It takes almost a day by the time you get to the airport, get there. But we never take anything but a nonstop so that we will get to spend as much time.
I'll pay the extra money for the nonstop.
Me too.
I don't want to get off the
Absolutely.
plane.
But we can't do that to China or anywhere.
No, we can't do that.
No.
Who plays Jackie Berry in a movie about Jackie Berry?
Let's see, who could
I was
do
thinking
that?
about this on the way over. I've
Yeah.
got a name, but I'm going to see what you...
Who's that? who's gotten all those Oscars? The lady. Oh, good grief.
Meryl Streep?
Yeah, Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep's not a bad choice. I was thinking Helen Mirren.
Oh, yeah.
I love Helen Mirren, too.
Yeah, I think she's a little too old to play me.
You think so? Okay. She might be. Maybe
She's
a younger Helen Mirren.
She's probably younger than
pulled
I
it
am,
off.
but I just thought.
What's your favorite song?
Oh, my goodness.
Do you have a
You
favorite
know
song?
what? I listen to music. I have Spotify and I have Pandora, and I listen to it, but I never know the names of everything. But I know I like it,
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that I have.
So you just jump around, listen to
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay,
Just
a lot
it
of
is
different
on and I'm
genres.
mindless
Okay.
about it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
What do you enjoy doing now in your spare time?
Oh, spare time. Let's see. Well, normally it's tennis. I do love to play tennis, and I love to
We're going
walk
to
with.
combine two questions because I had a
Okay.
tennis question too.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay. And I love to walk with friends. I don't mind walking alone, but I really like to walk with friends. I do walk on the treadmill. That's not it. But I read the paper.
I hate the treadmill.
Well, I've got it set up. I read the paper. I have it. I put it on my iPad, and I read the morning paper, and I have the news on over there. And when it's interesting over there, I'll stop on that. And so really, of course, when I get done, I'm not sure if I know anything about the
Right.
nation or at all. But I like that, so I do that. And I love to do yoga, but I haven't done that for a while because I've had a broken wrist and I've had a knee replacement.
Did you do yoga down at the Heritage Hall?
Yeah, yeah.
My favorite venue, my favorite facility in the county,
Yeah.
great building.
Oh, it is.
And,
I love
is he
it.
still doing that down there, or is
Yeah,
he?
no.
He's doing it virtually
yes,
now,
he
I
is.
think.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and I love to swim. Yeah,
Okay.
in the summer and beyond with a little warmth. Yeah.
So you mentioned tennis.
Yes, uh-huh.
I know. I made the mistake. We've got a young lady in our power sports program down here, and she's one of the few females that's in the power sports program. And she's a tennis player.
Oh.
And I was teasing her one day. I said, yeah, I think that I could. At my age, I could still beat you at tennis.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mr. Tiemann is shaking his head like, don't say that. And I said, so you play? Where do you play? She said, I play at Potosi. I said, what seat do you play at Potosi? First. And I was like, never mind. Never mind. So
bet
when
she's
when I was playing a little bit, not near as much as you played, you would play with Jack Lawson.
I
a lot.
did,
And
yes.
of course, Jack's been gone for several
Yes,
years now.
he has.
So who's your tennis player? Who's your partner now?
Yeah,
that
you
you're
know what?
playing
I
with,
do
that you're
have
playing
someone I
against?
play with, and he it's a guy, and his name is Paul, and he was one of our minister's sons, and he's about 60, so he's younger, of course, but we're about the same, and he is he doesn't have a big family, and so he's very flexible with his time, and oftentimes when I find I have a little bit of time, he can meet, and so we do.
And I don't mind to play. I'm waiting for you to get a little older, so that
Don't.
I've got more of a fighting chance.
I don't think you better do that.
In another 5 years, I think I'm going to be right there with you. You were great to have as a neighbor.
Oh, you were too.
Bill,
Yeah.
not so great to have as a neighbor, and here's why. Bill Berry, I've said this to people before, one of the hardest working men I've ever seen in my life, okay?
Yeah.
So Bill was it railroad? So he worked the railroad. Bill would come home. I would come home from work at Central or North County, whichever place I was working at the time. Bill would mow the grass. He would wash all three of the girls' vehicles. He would clean the pool. And so there was and he was like right next door. So, it was, how am I going to compare to Bill Berry?
Oh, you were down there working hard.
So, what's Bill's best attribute?
Oh, hands down, patience. Patience. Holy cow.
I can see that.
Yeah, he's
I can
very
see
patient.
that.
It's amazing. I know, surprisingly enough, I'm not a real patient person.
Yes.
I know that'll come as a surprise. But he is, and they say opposites attract. So,
No, Bill was a great neighbor, but I would always say that. How do you compare to this guy? He's working all the time. He never stops.
And then help taking girls here, there, and
Oh,
everywhere.
he ran those girls all over the place.
Yep.
I call this a Chad Mills special. What would you bring to a potluck? If you were having someone invited you to a potluck, what would you bring? Chad always says mashed potatoes, which is the worst thing. No one wants to bring that to a potluck. What would you bring?
I've got one item, and everybody at Bonne Terre probably knows it. And everybody at North County that was in either Mindy or Sheree or Brittany's class. Brownies.
You're a brownie person. Okay.
But they're berry brownies.
Mr. Lowry, it makes a pretty good brownie.
Oh.
Mr. Lowry has gone as far as to say that my wife's brownies Very good.
Ooh.
Mr. Lowry says that he thinks that they can compare. We may have to have you
Yeah.
bring some in.
Oh, yeah, let's
We'll
do
have
that.
Jason bring some, Sherry will bring some.
And we'll all get to
we'll
taste.
we'll have
Yes.
big brownie day.
But mine will be from a box, by the way. I have to tell you.
Most famous person you've ever met?
Oh, well, that also. If you don't count this weekend I met Jim Edwards.
Jim Edmonds.
Oh yeah, Jim Edmonds. Let me get that right.
Jim Edmonds, John Edwards, two different people.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we were at Schnucks getting donuts, and he bumped into me and he said, "Excuse me," and I said, "Oh, that's okay." I had my list of what all the children wanted. Yeah, I was getting, and then I just looked over and I thought, oh my gosh, that's Jim Edmonds, and I thought, I'm not going to go, you're just, I won't do that. So I said, hey, I really enjoy listening to you, and I really love seeing you play, and that was our end. And so we talked about the Cardinals, and then we also agreed that we both loved fried croissants the best.
Oh, yeah.
So now we're best friends.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But my most famous person was Richard Nixon.
Right.
So this is a crazy story. It doesn't even seem true. But I was probably...
Why do all your stories begin with, this is crazy?
I know. And
Okay,
it won't
go ahead.
seem true. I have a lot of stories. Bill Martin and I could really go back and forth. Yeah. The students would try to get me off. Now, you know they couldn't,
No,
of course. But
impossible.
they tried. So anyway, so I was probably about 17 going into my senior year, and FBLA from every state in the United States went to Washington, D.C. for their convention. And when we were in line registering for our sponsors for, someone that I didn't know from another state said, did you hear that Richard Nixon is staying at this hotel? And I said, really, where? And they, well, I don't know, but I'll let you know. Well, we were there about 4 days, and on the last
So you locked your room first, and then,
yeah, right.
what hotel was this?
It was the Watergate Hotel.
Okay.
No kidding.
Okay,
Honestly,
I wanted to
it
make
was.
sure.
Absolutely. So, I saw that kid again then on the last night. We just had a big dinner, and then there was a dance afterwards in the Watergate Hotel up pretty high. And so anyway, he said, I heard what room he's in. I said, well, what room? And he told me, and I said, do you want to go? And he said, no. And I said, well, does anybody want to go? No. So I went, and I had to go up a little further, and the hallway was marked not so well with, you go this way, and then you go that way, but I got to it, and it was at the end of the hall, and it had two doors, one with the doorknob and one not. I thought, well, he'd be staying in a suite, right? And it was maybe 11 o'clock, which is a little strange to go to knock on someone's door, but I thought, I've got to do it. So I knocked on the door, and nothing happened, and I thought, oh, I'll just try one more time. Knock, knock, knock. And so nothing happened. And so I started to turn around, and the door opened, and it was him. It was Richard Nixon.
He answered his own door.
He answered his own door, and he invited me in. I went. I know. You'd never do that with Bill Clinton or anything. Right?
I don't know that I would have done that with Richard Nixon.
I know. I was so gullible. So anyway, I went in, and the first...
Or Giuliani. You wouldn't want to do that with Giuliani either?
No.
Okay.
Or others. And so anyway, the very first area that you walked in, had a big, big table, a desk. Of course, I think most of them were smoking. There were all men sitting around the table. It was probably Haldeman and Dean and all those guys in the Watergate. Holson, yeah. And so they were all there, and he told me, asked me why I was there, and wanted all kind. He was so gentlemanly. He really was. And then, of course, I blew it at the end. I thought, could I have your autograph? And then I went out, and I whooshed down the hall. And I think some others went up as well. And I'm not sure if he wouldn't keep answering the door. But anyway, it was so exciting.
Okay,
yeah,
very good,
yeah.
very good story.
Yeah.
Any pets that you have now?
We do have a pet that was rehomed, and he's a cutie. But we had a wonderful dog that lived to be 16.
I remember that dog.
Yeah.
You would always dress...
No, Manchester was first, and then this one was Hiley. You might not know Hiley.
Found it on Hiley Lane. I remember the story.
Yeah, all of our dogs are named where they come from. Yeah.
And I remember that when Jeffrey was little and he would trick or treat at your house, you'd always have the dogs dressed up.
Oh yes, always. They didn't
always
particularly
fun.
love to do
No,
that.
I don't think they were fond of it.
No.
But okay, if not for teaching and education, what do you think you would have done as a profession?
I don't know. When I went to college, I really thought I was going to, this is a long time ago. I think I wanted to be a private secretary. I wanted to work in business and but women weren't appreciated so much. Maybe they're not appreciated as much as now.
We're very appreciative of them here. I can assure you.
Okay.
The place couldn't run without them.
That's true.
Now, I know that's true.
Yeah, right. But they don't. There are some little divisions there. But anyway, so there was this program on TV that was Mrs. Somebody or the other, and she was a private secretary. It looked just like such a fun life, and that's what I really intended. That's why I went into business first.
Not Mrs. Wiggins on the Carol Burnett show.
No,
the secretary.
it wasn't that,
Different
but
one. Okay.
long ago.
Okay.
And so anyway, then I took the French class, and I fell in love with the French teacher, and so I decided to do a double major, and then I decided I didn't want to be a secretary. So, but that's what I thought I might want to be. I would love to be a broadcaster.
Yeah,
I'd love to do a Cardinal game. Oh my gosh, that would be so exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite local restaurants?
Oh, God.
Now this is going to be tough for you because you are with United Way. You guys have the dine out.
We
So
do.
you can mention some of those if you
Okay,
like, because I
okay.
know that we used to go to a lot of that, and we can see you out on, I think it's Thursday nights.
It is Thursday
see you
nights.
at some of those
right.
events.
Last night was El Tap in Park Hills and McDonald's, I believe.
Okay.
But I didn't make it last night. So anyway, it's every Thursday. So, of course I love Hubs because Brandon is so generous for everything. So you want to support things like that. And besides, the food's really good. And you see lots of people I love Ivan's Benham Street Grill. I love, and Dustin's 101. And I love Pasta House with Nancy Sylvie. She's such a contributor to everything. And then there, and we have that new Spanish place Mexican place in Bonne Terre, El Churrasco. Chorrito. Okay. All
We'll
right.
have to ask Mr. Mullins to pronounce that for us.
Yeah.
Is it?
Ja.
The J is silent.
Yeah. No, it's a J.
The J's an
A-
H. El Jarrito, I guess, is what it would be called.
Maybe so.
Okay.
We'll get it.
It's kind of like Django. The D's silent.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Django, but different. Okay. Tennis opponents. Who did you play against that you thought, other than you played doubles with Jack?
Yeah, I did.
And we mentioned the Paul that you're playing with.
Yeah.
When you were younger and you were playing a lot,
Yeah.
who was that one that you're like, I got to beat this person?
I'll tell you, it was Julie Skaggs Inman.
Oh yeah.
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 She was really a good North County player, and we
That's
played.
Belinda's sister.
Yes, it is Belinda's sister, and she was really good, and she was young, and I was not. I was younger then, but anyway.
She was the number one seed.
Yes, she
in North
was.
County
She was
for
the number
years.
one.
Yeah.
And we played once, and we played a few times, and she always won. And then I got to beat her once, and that was so exciting.
I would've quit after that.
I know. We didn't play ever again.
Yeah, I wouldn't play her anything.
I wanted to beat my daughter Mindy, but I never did get to. We only played once, and she beat me too badly. I didn't want to go through that again.
If you had to change your name, what would you change your name to?
Oh, I would change it to Susie. I love the name Susie.
Okay.
It's just so perky.
Just always liked the name Susie.
I have. Well, my middle name is Sue. My mom would call me Susie sometimes. And I thought, well, I just wish that were my real name. So anyway, that's,
Okay.
yeah.
A little off topic here.
Uh-huh.
What year was your mother born? Was she?
She was born a long time.
Was
Yeah.
she born before the turn of the century?
No, she was born in 1911, though.
1911.
Yeah.
Okay, so she'd been through.
Yeah, she went through all those things, and my dad. They
Right.
did. They went, and that made them very, very frugal.
And makes you very appreciative.
Yes, it does, and it made me really. I'm a frugal person. You can ask all my friends. I'm pretty frugal, but I will spend something, whereas they probably never really did. But I don't think my daughter's got the frugal gene, and I talk to them about that.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
That's not
I
a
know.
bad thing. Favorite book and favorite movie
Okay.
of all time.
Oh, a book I really love is The Devil in the White City. I love The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. It's I
More of
love historical fiction.
Yeah.
And it talks about
Almost
the
a young
world's-
adult, a lot of young adult stuff too.
Well, yeah, it talks about Chicago becoming the choice of America's turn to do the World's Fair. And we came right after Paris that built the Eiffel Tower for their World's Fair, and we wanted to be better, and nobody thought Chicago could do that. And by golly, they came up with a Ferris wheel that could hold, I think, 40 or 50 people, and it had a lunch counter. It was a Ferris wheel. And anyway, but they really did do a really good job, but every other chapter was about this dentist who was lurking there in Chicago and drawing all kinds of people in to work for him, and then they disappear. And he was killing all these wonderful ladies that would come to work because they wanted to be a part of the World's Fair atmosphere. Anyway, I really love that. Movies, I don't know.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here on the movie. You mentioned Meryl Streep earlier. So I would say, Kramer versus Kramer, maybe.
That's a good one.
Dr. Zhivago.
Oh my gosh, yes, Dr. Zhivago and
Not that Meryl Streep was in Dr. Zhivago.
no, she wasn't.
But
but I love that.
Okay.
Loved it. My goodness, yes. And I loved. I like Mrs. Doubtfire.
a little bit different than Dr. Zhivago. Dr. Zhivago, Mrs. Doubtfire.
No, pretty far apart. But yeah, I did. I really loved that.
Yeah.
And Bill and I, that's something in the Barry crew. We love going to movies, especially Christmas Day. After all the excitement, and go to St. Louis.
I'm a big Christmas Day movie guy because they always have a big blockbuster
They
release.
do.
Or back when they made movies.
I know. When
They
good
always
movies,
had, you'd have those movies like The Godfather. Some of those
Yes.
things would come out, they would hold them until Christmas Day. It
That was
always a great day.
so that was something we do.
Hey, you've done a great job. Got one more question
Okay.
for you here on the hot seat. We ask this of everyone. If you were a junior or senior coming up to UniTec, what program do you think you might be interested in? We have so many different programs here now.
This is a great place, I'm telling you. And I want to go back to MAC for a second on this. MAC is just a wonderful educational institution
Sure.
for this community. I was so proud to be able to be there. And, with all these funding cuts and so forth, I just want everybody to realize what a nugget that is here in St. Francis County.
Absolutely.
Also, that I will add this UniTec. I can remember back in my day when people only came here if they didn't want to take a solid subject, so to speak. And now all levels and very high levels of people come here because this can be a stepping stone for a job or for more education or anything.
Exactly. That's our goal, is to make
yeah.
it a true career center, and
Yes.
no longer just a vo-tech.
Oh, it's wonderful. And I think this media class would be really fun that Jason teaches. And I think the graphic arts would be really great.
Another
I
one of
think
my
the
favorite
culinary would
programs.
be really good.
Yeah.
But I'll just stick with my brownies.
You're going to stick with those box brownies.
Box brownies,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hey, folks, this has been the hot seat with our special guest, Jackie Berry. She did a phenomenal. We thought we would, and we had several people ask, when's Jackie Berry going to be on? Well, I called you and talked to you. You said, probably one person
Yeah,
asked.
I
And I
know.
said, no, several people have inquired. Jackie would be a great guest. Be sure and like and subscribe. And I'm going to use some Jason Lowry lingo. There's a little bell on there. Click that bell and it'll alert you when there's a new video out. Mr. Lowry's constantly putting stuff up on our web pages. So be sure and like and subscribe. And thank you. Stay tuned for more great episodes.
Thank you. It was really fun.